Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Joe Palmer begins now.
In Tasmania, hundreds of punters have turned out for Cup festivities, including charity lunches and fashionable celebrations. But at least one local pub has banned the big race in protest of the sport's recent animal rights controversies.
It's known as the race that stops the nation, but today no one was stopping to watch the race at the CASCADE Hotel. The pub switching off, instead showing a report about the treatment of retired racehorses.
I've made the decision not to broadcast the Melbourne Cup this year, essentially on the back of the information that's come to light following the 7:30 report final race documentary. Despite
shunning the event, the pub's tables were full.
Look, I'd say the community by and large has been incredibly positive. So much so I've been surprised. I've received emails, phone calls from all over the world.
I've always been very anti the Melbourne Cup and in fact horse racing because of how horses are treated.
It's very heartening actually. It's nice to know that there are other people out there who are concerned about it.
But there were Tasmanian events celebrating Australian racing's biggest day, including this fundraiser for the Clifford Craig Foundation, hoping to raise $10,000 for medical research.
The Melbourne Cup event is put together by our volunteer fundraising group. Actually, they've been doing it for 28 years and they raise money for the research program at the Launceston General Hospital and across the hospitals across the north of the state.
It helps attract better doctors, and the more money we raise, the more medical research we can do.
A festival of fascinators also taking over the Rest Point Casino.
Looking for the outfit that you want to wear, hat to go with it, shoes, bag, and yeah, it's always fun. The best part of the day is getting ready.
I won't lie, I finished this morning.
Just something that I've pulled out of the wardrobe. Sister's hat.
Yeah, borrowed dress.
However the day was spent, there was one clear message for punters. You have to be in it to win it. Ebony Ablett, 7 Tasmania News.
In the day's other news, in a significant step forward for Tasmania's emergency services, the first ever helicopter has touched down at the Royal Hobart Hospital. It's set to shave minutes off transfer times in a potentially life-saving move for our most delicate and critical patients. And our cameras had exclusive access to the milestone moment.
High above Hobart, approaching for a special landing. This helicopter, the first to touch down on the Royal Hobart Hospital's new helipad.
This is a great day. It's a combination of a lot of work by a lot of people over a long period of time.
A team of experts undertaking a round of testing today, walking away impressed. A potentially life-saving improvement. Currently, helicopters are forced to land at the cenotaph before transporting patients to hospital by ambulance.
We will be shaving about 10 to 15 minutes off of every transport that we bring to the hospital. As the state's major receiving hospital, that's going to be great for many, many patients.
The helipad sits 12 stories above Hobart, and after testing here today, it's now ready to start taking patients by early next year.
If patients do have life-threatening either trauma or other major medical conditions that require immediate and urgent surgery, then we do have a possibility with this new process to go direct to the operating theatres.
It's the first time ever our 4 major hospitals will be directly linked by air as part of the soon-to-open redevelopment.
We're all working really hard to make sure that this facility is fit for purpose and ready to take patients. So we're looking to see that imminently.
This government has made promise after promise, deadline after deadline, and they've failed to meet them. And the latest commitment from the Premier is its opening will be imminent. I mean, that's just laughable.
The government remaining tight-lipped about just when the shiny new K Block will treat its first patients. Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmania News.
New data has revealed the state government spent more than $150,000 on travel alone in the past 6 months. The Premier spending the most on local, interstate and international travel, which included a trade mission to Asia. The disclosure also finding $180,000 was spent on fleet cars. Labor says it's too much, but wouldn't reveal how much it spent while in government.
Many Tasmanians are struggling to put a roof over their head. They're struggling to get access to health services, and in fact this government doesn't blink an eye, racking up taxpayers' dollars on accommodation and travel.
What you have to do, of course, in good budget management processes, you have to be tight on that, and what we've done is spent significantly less than Labor did when they were in power.
The data also shows since April the government spent $20,000 on entertainment. A 31-year-old man has been charged after allegedly stealing more than 130 Friesian calves from a northwest farm he was managing. Police say the cattle were worth around $170,000 and have since been recovered. The man has been bailed to face Burnie Magistrates Court in January next year. The investigation is ongoing. There's an alert for some Tas water customers tonight with the detection of E. coli in a local water supply. Residents in Lauderdale, Roaches Beach, Acton Park and 7 Mile Beach are being advised to boil water for consumption or food preparation. It comes after the detection of the bacteria at the Lauderdale Reservoir. E. coli can come from the faeces of humans and animals and can cause severe gastro illness. Tas Water says a follow-up testing is underway. As the bushfire season starts to heat up across the state, the Tasmania Fire Service has received a boost to its resources. 2 high-tech trucks have been added to the fleet, designed by local firefighters.
Lights flashing and racing down the street. These new and improved heavy pumpers are being taken out for a spin, all ready to tackle blazes across the state.
It is the latest and greatest technology. It's a state-of-the-art truck. There's all sorts of things that we've got on there in the truck as far as better safety, better vision for our operators.
The vibrant red vehicles, decked out with the latest firefighting technology for the Launceston and Hobart brigades, designed by and for Tasmanian career fighters.
Looking at what our risks are and where we use these trucks, and we've got a user group that provides input into that. We've listened to them and we're making sure that we've got the right truck that is exactly what our firefighters want in this state.
The state government pumping around $1.8 million to fund the vehicles.
It's all about making sure that Tasmanians remain safe, and of course part of that is being able to deal with urban fires as quickly as we can. And it's part of a 5-year heavy pumper upgrade.
From structure fires to vegetation blazes, the trucks have arrived to the fleet just in time as the bushfire season arrives early.
It's ideally suited if we need big water. It can punch out 4,000 litres a minute out of the monitor that's on the roof, so we can do a lot with this sort of truck, and it gives us tremendous capability going forward.
Another heavy pumper is expected to be added next year. Ruby Kamain, 7 Tasmanian News.
Another 10 shipping container homes have been approved for Hobart to help expand emergency accommodation for people at risk of homelessness. Plans are being rolled out for multiple units using spare space next to existing shelters.
An ordinary container from the outside, a safe home from within. 10 of these converted units will sit next to a Hobart shelter, in plans approved by the council overnight.
We have a growing homelessness problem in Hobart, but in many cities around the world, and these kind of containers provide basic shelter, but the important thing is that they are connected to existing crisis services.
It's just good news that the council has actually passed this so that as a government we can get on with supplying those people in need of housing with that housing.
Plans for shipping container units are also being progressed for the Garden of Bethlehem house, expanding emergency accommodation options.
This is an additional 18 units, and we really hope that this will provide a good shelter for people who are currently living in tents, living in cars, sofa, surfing with friends, that kind of thing.
The facility, often at full capacity, offers shelter and 24-hour assistance for homeless men, with drawn-up plans now released to boost the 46-year-old service provider.
It's not up to the standard that is expected of emergency accommodation these days, and so we're delighted that there will be a totally new facility with increased bed space.
Construction at Bethlehem House is expected to begin in the coming months. Ruby Kermain, 7 Tasmanian News.
Researchers at the University of Tasmania have found vaping has as much of a toxic effect on blood cells as smoking cigarettes. The results of the study also point to links to lung cancer, prompting action by the state government.
With flavours like bubblegum, banana and raspberry, you can see the appeal. Vaping is often spruiked as a cheaper and healthier alternative to smoking cigarettes.
People have decided to vape instead as an attempt to wean themselves off of smoking or quit directly.
But now new research suggests it's just as deadly.
They're actually not safe, and there's a huge amount of scientific evidence there.
Scientists at the University of Tasmania measuring the effects of vaping found it damaged blood cells as much as smoking, with the study also discovering proteins found in lung cancer.
So the claim being said that they're 95% harmless, that is essentially wrong. They are actually quite toxic to the cells.
Electronic cigarettes is a relatively new product, but there's growing evidence of the health harms associated with its use.
Advocates transitioning from cigarettes acknowledge while a battery-powered puff may still be harmful, they notice changes immediately.
I wasn't losing my breath all the time. I didn't have that horrible cough waking up first thing in the morning.
The state government is now clouded with concern and has asked the nation's chief medical officer to investigate further.
We're particularly concerned about the impact that has on young people and the perception that these products might be safe.
I think there needs to be some tight regulations around that, and we need to really closely watch that.
Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
A new project is aiming to improve the literacy outcomes of children by promoting the benefits of reading from birth. The Books for Babies initiative is encouraging the community to donate books or money to purchase reading material for disadvantaged children.
The ideal age is from birth, even though the children at that stage don't look like they're particularly paying attention. The talking that's happening, the relationship building that's happening between a child and a parent is really valuable.
Research suggests reading books increases the number of words a child is exposed to, promoting language development and improving literacy in the future. The project is aiming for 150 books. It can be tough trying to find a job, and even tougher the older you are. Burnie City Council is trying to change this, launching a new program arming job seekers with the skills they need to find work.
A staggering 30% of those unemployed in Burnie are over the age of 45. Mature workers in the region are experiencing tough times, but a new program aims to help those struggling to get a job. Burnie City Council is launching the Building Bridges program with the help of federal funding.
It's a program that's kind of been developed to focus on community awareness of the issue, trying to break down preconceived ideas of what a mature age job seeker is.
Now it's becoming more competitive. There are fewer jobs in regional Australia, and this will certainly create an opportunity for those people to come in, get some skills, up skills, learn how interview processes are undertaken.
For Robert Miller, the process of finding a job has been gruelling. He's spent the past 4 years looking for work with no luck.
I have very little hope for finding a job in the depressed Burnie market for older job seekers.
A qualified teacher with more than 30 years of experience, he's tried to find all kinds of work.
Bus driver job, teacher job, office job. And I came close sometimes, but just nothing comes of them.
On average, a mature age job seeker spends 75 weeks looking for work.
You can imagine a year and a half of rejection and a year and a half of, no's and knockbacks, and not even rejection, nothing back at all. And what this can do to the psychological kind of health of any individual.
Elizabeth O'Neill, 7 Tasmania News.
New Tasmania Devils women's coach Emma Humphries is adamant the state has what it takes to match it with the best young female talent in the country as the side prepares for its inaugural season in the Women's NAB League.
Humphries is no stranger to top-tier competition after spending 2 seasons in the AFLW with the North Melbourne Demons and North Melbourne Kangaroos, and she's adamant that experience will hold her in good stead for a new role.
Pathways
are there now for the girls. We've obviously got some work to do with those, but I think having a squad of 45 this year, we probably only thought it would be around 35, so I think that goes to show something for the girls that are coming and the programs that have been put in place for the last couple of years.
Consisting of 14 players from the north, 13 from the northwest and 18 from the south, Humphries says the talent pool in the state is deeper than it's ever been as they prepare to take on the best under-18 talent the country has to offer in the 2020 NAB League.
Maybe a bit of a reality check for a few of them, but I think, like we've said, we've got all the right people in place. We've got S&C staff, we've got wellbeing staff, things that we've never had before.
The NAB League women's fixture will be released later in the year, with the Devils squad set to be cut down following its initial practice sessions.
We've got regional training groups twice a week and then come together on a Sunday. Hopefully it's going to do the girls really well. It's going to be a lot of football, but I definitely think it's possible, and we've got the right personnel in place as well to step in if needed. So hopefully it'll all run smoothly.
Set to be state versus state and mate versus mate at Hobart's Elwick Racecourse on Saturday night, with the country's best harness racers set to battle it out for bragging rights for the annual Australian Drivers' Championships. 2 drivers from each state will compete in a series of 6 races throughout the night on a different horse in each race.
Some get a better draw than others, but hopefully it evens out over the night. They all get a chance at winning. You'd think the local guys have got a bit more knowledge with local horses, but yeah, it could be an interesting night.
The first race begins at 7 p.m.
Good evening. 17 was the state's warmest today at Hobart, Launceston 16 and a high of 15 across Burnie and Devonport. Other centres today, 14 across Smithton and Lowhead, a high of 17 at both St Helens and Friendly Beaches, Strawn 13 and Ooze reaching 16. On the close-up shows high level cloud moving in from the west and covering Tasmania. Further out, a large mid to high level cloud band associated with a low southwest of Tasmania covers the ocean in the eastern bight and around Tasmania. Tomorrow, a pair of cold fronts approach the state while a weak trough runs from central WA down to southeast South Australia. North to northwesterly winds 20 to 30 knots tomorrow, 30 to 40 knots about the south, swells up to 5 metres in the west and south and up to 2 metres in the north. A gale warning is current for southern, western, northern and eastern coastal waters from Tasman Island to Wineglass Bay for west to northwesterly winds. A strong wind warning for lower east coastal waters, the southwest lakes, Storm Bay, Frederick Henry Bay and Norfolk Bay. A warning for sheep graziers is current for all grazing districts and the Bass Strait Islands, and a bushwalkers weather alert for the Central Plateau and Western forecast districts for snow above 800 metres. Tomorrow's forecast now, showers and 18 across Geeveston and Bothwell, Hobart 19. Windy with showers about Launceston and Cressy, Devonport a very windy 15. A high of 15 at both Burnie and Strawn, Curry 16. St Helens 18, Swansea reaching a high of 20 and Orford expecting a shower or 2. The UV forecast high 7s across the state. Looking ahead to the 3-day forecast now, Thursday showers mostly about the north and west, Friday showers about the west and south, and Saturday showers about the west and south extending throughout the day. Capital cities, a sunny 26 in Perth, Cairns partly cloudy and a high of 27 in Sydney. Looking at current temperatures, Hobart 14 and cloudy and across Launceston and Devonport 13 and cloudy. That's all in weather tonight. Back to you, Jo.
Lovely. Thanks so much for that, Jackie. Great to have you here. That's all from the team for now. We'll see you a bit later with updates. Bye-bye.